But here are my top 10 favorite Batman villains. Let's get to it. My number 10, I'm going to go with the ventriloquist, a.k.a. with Scarface, but his real name is Arnold Wesker. Debuted in Detective Comics number 583 in February of 1988. You don't hear too much, I don't think, about the 80s when it comes to Batman. It's like a low, not like a low point, but it's not his most popular era. I don't think. But the ventriloquist is one of the villains that came out of there very, very popular and made appearances. I know him through the animated series, and I always thought it was cool that this character, Arnold Wesker, the ventriloquist, had like a multiple personality disorder, and sometimes he let the Scarface puppet control him, and other times he wouldn't, and there was this never-ending kind of battle. It almost... I'm trying to think of a comparison. I mean, you can kind of look at like the Eddie Brock Venom kind of teeter-tottering, or Hulk Bruce Banner kind of thing, but just in the very opposite direction. Batman faced a lot of mob-type villains, and I always really found this one quite interesting because I didn't always understand it. And it kept me on edge. So Scarface / the ventriloquist, Arnold Wesker, that's my number 10. I've always adored this villain for some reason. Number 9, I'm going to go Scarecrow, Jonathan Crane. It took me a while to really find Scarecrow intimidating. I watched the animated series, and there was an episode that dealt with the Scarecrow, and it wasn't a good look, that's for sure. It wasn't very intimidating or villain-like. He looked like a Raggedy Ann doll. I don't know, like he was just a dude in a Scarecrow costume. Like that was it. He was just a gimmick. But coming around, I remember my grandmother, my Mima, she had a Scarecrow toy from some different comic book line, and it was pretty intimidating the way it looked, and it had a scythe, it had all sorts of stuff. I'm like, ooh, this is different. I kind of like this. And then I think it was Cillian Murphy's portrayal in Batman Begins. Obviously, it really went into that horror aspect of him with the nerve gas and all that jazz. Like, it added a whole other element to how I perceived Scarecrow. He debuted in World's Finest Comics number 3 in the fall of 1941, by the way. I have every villain's debut book listed. But yeah, I had a Scarecrow action figure. It scared me. And I think the Batman Begins portrayal. And again, the Batman Begins portrayal was different, unique, and I think it gave a lot more depth to the character. At least as somebody who's not like a diehard comic book reader, especially of Batman stuff. So that's my number 9 is Scarecrow. Number 8, I'm going to go Bane. Bane was wild. I remember Bane lightly through the cartoon, but mostly is that roided out thing from Batman. Was it Batman and Robin? Yeah, it was the last one from Batman and Robin. Like, I just remember just how scary he looked. And I always thought it was cool. He had the luchador mask thing going on. But I do remember it being a big deal. I didn't read the book, but I remember seeing the cover when I was a kid of Batman getting his back broken by Bane. All right. Bane made his debut in Batman Vengeance of Bane #1, which came out in 1993. But it was a big deal for Batman to get rocked by this character. And I do enjoy Tom Hardy's portrayal of him. I don't know if that's been... I would imagine that's been replicated in some comics, maybe. It's actually still hard to believe that Tom Hardy pulled that look off. But I've always enjoyed the comic book version more as just this brute instead of an intellect brute. Maybe I'm missing something along the way, but Bane is belonging of my top 8, and both movie variations have played a big part in this. So my number 7, sometimes hero, sometimes villain. I'm gonna go Catwoman, Selena Kyle. Yeah, I mean, Cat Burglar. Again, I've always been more Marvel, so like Black Cat has always kind of been like that character for me, that sometimes hero, sometimes villain character in love with our hero. But I know that Catwoman's the OG, and she's been played by some beautiful actresses over the years in some of the movie stuff. And I've never seen the Halle Berry Catwoman. I should just say that, but I like it. I like the Catwoman character. I mean, especially in that time, a strong female character as a kind of a villain is really cool, and I like that she became a love interest of Batman. It created a nice dynamic, and I think it was really trendsetter when it comes to that kind of villain falling in love with the hero when it comes to the world of comic books. So Catwoman, number 7. Number 6. Oh, forgive me. Catwoman debuted in the first Batman, number 1, April of 1940, by the way, which is that comic that went for a lot of money. So there's another character that made their debut in that too. We'll talk about him in a moment. But all right, my number 6, the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, debuting in Detective Comics number 58 from December of 1941. I love Danny DeVito's Penguin, but oh God, Colin Farrell. His portrayal has been fantastic so far. It's been nice. It's been grounded. I love the mobster villains. All right, I like the street level villains. I think they add an excitement to and a different level of chaos to a rogues gallery. But the Penguin always stood out because he was just a little bit more than that, and he had the umbrella with the machine gun, which I always thought was cool. He utilized penguins in various ways. And he had a cool look. But yeah, Penguin's a classic. I'm a classic guy. Like, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to a lot of the stuff. So a lot of the villains I have, most of the villains that I have, are not too far out of the box. Like, there's a lot of great new ones, but I'm a traditionalist when it comes to these sort of things. So, and the Penguin makes it at number 6. Number 5, Two-Face / Harvey Dent, debuted in Detective Comics number 66 in August of 1942. Man, Tommy Lee Jones' portrayal, a little over the top, but iconic nonetheless. And then, I forget the actor's name, but in The Dark Knight, even though it was brief, terrifying. Terrifying. And that's how you do it. Less is more. And his 30 to 45 minute run as actual Two-Face was so meaningful. All right, and obviously it paved the way for a lot of stuff in the third movie as well. But I had the action figure as a kid. And I remember I had a pair of pajamas. It was red, and Two-Face was driving a car. And I remember all of a sudden, and Batman was on top of the car. And I remember I was like 4 or 5 years old in my living room, my parents' living room. My Aunt Joanne was over. My mom was talking to her. And I remember Two-Face. Like, I was so excited. I never realized that Two-Face was on the pajamas. And my mom thought I was saying toothpaste. But it's like this weird, like, just random memory that I have of being a kid. And yeah, Two-Face is awesome. I liked how he looked one way. Like, I always try to see it. Like, I cover up one half, look at it that way, and then, I don't know. art, I guess. That's how I view art. But that's my number 5 is Two-Face. Number 4, Poison Ivy, a.k.a. Pamela Isley. Batman number 181 from June of 1966. Very, very attractive comic book character. Beautiful. Love the Uma Thurman portrayal. I was mesmerized as a kid. I think I became a man watching that film, but or something of the sorts. But it's kind of like I like the eco-terrorist kind of angle. Like it's like you're kind of a villain, but not really at the same time. Like you intend good. I like it. I think it's a cool ability, cool powers to manipulate plants and the earth, kind of like that. Really cool. Really cool. I'm all the way here for it. So number 4, Poison Ivy. Number 3 is the Joker. And you may think that's a little low, but I don't know. The Joker's like too mainstream for me. I feel like there's been too much Joker sometimes. Like every generation of Batman feels the need to have a new Joker. And it's kind of like the X-Men films where every film Magneto had to be involved somehow. It's like, all right, give Magneto a little break here. He doesn't need to be the villain in everything. Let me enjoy some other stuff. And but he's been played by some great role. I mean, just a strong Joker casting has been just as important as a strong Batman casting. And Joker's been played by a lot of great people. He also debuted in Batman number 1, 1940. I had a couple different Joker action figures. I know I had one of the animated series back in the 90s. He's easily one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. Can get really dark, can get really goofy. A lot of range with the Joker. And I think that's why he's so beloved as a character. So, number 3, the Joker. Number 2, Mr. Freeze, debuting in Batman number 121 from February of 1959. I'm a big ice water element kind of character. Like that's what I like. Like if I had superpowers of some sort, that's what I would like to control. And I like the color blue, so it just kind of goes hand in hand, I guess. He's also kind of like one of those sympathetic villains, where he's a villain for all of the right reasons. Like he wants to save his wife, Nora, I believe her name was. But I've watched a couple things where it's like, man, you just kind of want to see him be the good guy. His look has always been so cool to me. I think that's one of the best parts, is that his look has always been so cool to me. You got the red eyes and the blue suit and just, again, the ability to you got all these freeze guns. I know the movie was terrible, but I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger's look as Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin. I think the look was awesome. Very forward thinking. Him in that suit of armor, all that what he had going on, all of that. It would have been cooler if it was in a better movie, but we take what we can get here. And but Mr. Freeze is my number 2. My number 1 is the Riddler, Edward Nygma, debuting in Detective Comics number 140 in October of 1948. I've spoken why the Riddler is my favorite character. It is one of the best gifts that the best toy gifts that my dad ever gave me when I was a child. And I will never forget that memory, that moment. I've repeated it a lot over the last couple weeks, so I don't want to do it again. But yeah, man. I like a villain that can make you think. An intelligent villain. You don't really think of the Riddler as like for his fighting prowess, even though there are times where he has been portrayed in that light. But I like a villain that makes you think. Because even like when you're watching or reading along, you're trying to figure it out yourself too. Like with all his riddles, you're trying to figure it out and learn, and maybe get the jump on it before Batman does. Or it was always really cool. I loved Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Riddler. I did not like the new Batman portrayal of the Riddler. Maybe I like the portrayal. I hated the dude's face who did it. I don't know. Again, traditionalist, sucker for tradition. I'm trying to think. There were some other things I wanted to add to this. But I always thought Jim Carrey could do a really good dark version of Riddler. Not that he ever would at this point, but I would have loved to see him reprise that role, but with a much darker twist to it. And you know what? My cousin did was the Riddler for Halloween like 10 years ago, and he looked perfect. And I think that might be part of it. It might be a little bit. There's just so much Riddler stuff going on. I adore it. I love it. I love the color green associated with them. There's so much that goes into it. Who knows why we love these characters, right? There's just all sorts of little quirks and whatnot, but yeah, the Riddler is my number one, and that is this list, the Batman Rogues Gallery list.